Sunday night's the night that you have a chance to see a Las Vegas show at Brayton Auditorium, and I am talking with the lovely lady who's going to be in town. Ann Margret, how are you?
I'm just fine. How are you doing?
Oh, great. I love that voice. You can make men melt. You know that?
Ah, that's sweet.
You have actually some Illinois connections. I understand you were born in Sweden, weren't you?
Yes, I was born in Stockholm, Sweden, and I came to America when I was 6 years old, and we settled in Fox Lake, Illinois.
And you wound up going to New Trier, as I recall.
Yes, and then, yes, I was a cheerleader there, and then I went to 1 year of Northwestern.
You know, oddly enough, I did a show with Jimmy McDonald, who was the head sound effects man and also did the voice for Mickey Mouse quite a few years ago. He flew down to Bloomington to do the show with me, and then he was flying back up, and he was going to be performing at New Trier, and I think you were there that very same night along with him. Do you recall that many years ago?
I'm sorry, the gentleman's name is?
Jim McDonald, who was the head sound effects man for Disney and also did the voice for Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
Do you recall that?
Yes.
I'm sure you were the one that was also up there with him.
Uh-huh.
That's as close as we've ever come to brushing together.
I see.
My brush with greatness.
I'll be looking forward to seeing you.
It's going to be great. You know George Behrens, don't you?
Well, he discovered me many, many years ago and gave me my very first really big break.
In fact, I think he may have been the first one to call you Annie, as I recall.
Yes. Yes. And as a matter of fact, my goodness, I just spoke with him a couple weeks ago.
I've had the chance and the good fortune to talk with him a number of times on the radio, and he is just a delight, isn't he?
Is he unbelievable? He's just about to be, January 20th, he will be 95 years young.
Wow. Fantastic. I understand when Hollywood-type folks get together, it's always George that they flock around because he has all these stories to tell.
Oh, yes. Yes, he's incredible. Yeah. What an inspiration.
Yeah. Back to the Las Vegas show. You worked with George, I think, in Vegas, didn't you?
I sure did. At the Sahara Hotel, in the big room. That was my first really big break. I sang 2 songs alone, and then I did a song and a sand dance with him. That's when he takes the sand out of his pockets and puts it on the floor, and you do a little sand dance. And
he always has to be careful so the smoke doesn't drift your way from his cigar, right?
Oh, he knows how to do everything.
He used to talk about that. He said if he would stand in the wrong place and the smoke would drift over toward Gracie when they were doing the show together, the audience would object to that.
That's right. That's right. He told me that too, right.
Yeah. Is this something new for you to take a Las Vegas show on the road?
Well, this is the very first time that I've done a series of one-nighters. I have an 8-city tour in 11 days.
Wow.
And this is like a test case. If I don't like it at the end, then I'll never do it again. But I'm really enjoying myself. I always wondered, it was always such a mystery to me, how big Broadway shows could do one-nighters and get all their, I don't know how many people and sets and everything.
Semis loaded with stuff. Yeah, a bunch of semis. How do they come in and do it in one night and then pack it up and head out again?
Well, we're bringing 43 people in and sets, and we have, 6 male dancers, 2 female singers, lasers, film. There will be an 18-piece orchestra. I bring 6 sidemen, musical conductor,
wow,
and stage manager, electricians, carpenters, wardrobe, makeup, hair, all sorts of microphones, of course, and 8 costume changes. And, of course, I'm really excited about it. And I said to Roger, boy, I want to be a challenge. Of course, I don't have to break down all the sets and find all the costumes. And
You know, I've done that once. I got to work on the Phantom of the Opera, setting up and tearing down when it came. And they just needed a gigantic crew. And I said, yeah, no, that's interesting. I'll have something to talk about after it's all finished. And it's amazing how it's like a circus without the elephants.
Well, did you enjoy it?
As a matter of fact, I did. It was kind of interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet it was.
I imagine there'll be a lot of guys volunteering to work on your crew, if you need any local people.
So fortunate that we have had great crews all around the country. We really have.
Yeah. I want to ask you a few questions. First of all, you were born in Sweden. Were you born to American parents? Was your father in the service or what?
No. We're all from Sweden. Half of our family is back in Sweden and half is here.
I was just thinking of the military for some reason because I was thinking of Elvis, and I know you were a good friend with Elvis, weren't you?
He was terrific. We were were friends for 14 years. He was just a terrific person.
And
great sense of humor.
Yeah, I guess I've heard those kind of things. I also heard that he could get very depressed at times, although maybe we all do that sometimes, huh?
Everybody does that.
Yeah. Is there a lot of pressure? I'm just curious what it's like. And it's really hard for me to imagine what it would be like to be a dancer and a singer and an actress, really, because I'm thinking some of the motion pictures we've been doing trivia on the air, so we've been asking about some of your questions, some of your favorite movies, Viva Las Vegas and Murderers Row, some films like that. Geez, you worked with Dean Martin, too, come to think of it.
Oh, I've had a chance to work with so many great people. Duke Wayne.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen. Edward G. Robinson, Bing Crosby, Gene Hackman, Jack Nicholson I worked with twice. Betty Davis was the very first film I did. I played the daughter of Betty Davis.
What's your favorite film?
Oh, boy. I really couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you. Out of the 40 films, I learned in each film. Some films I learned what not to do.
And some of the ones maybe you liked the best aren't the ones that people remember either. Who knows?
Probably, yeah.
You made reference to Roger here. Roger's your manager, isn't he?
He sure is, and he's my husband, and he's my best friend, and he's just terrific. He's my hero.
Yeah, I think that's great. If you can marry your best friend, that's a feather in your cap, I think.
Well, he and my mother are my best friends.
Yeah. How did you meet? Roger Smith is who we're talking about, right?
Yes.
He was an actor or something, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in a series called 77 Sunset Strip.
Of course.
In the 50s.
Yeah, 77. Yeah, with
boom, boom. Yes.
with Cookie in his comb, right?
That's right.
Wow.
Eddie Behrens.
Yeah, man, I wonder if that's being run anymore. There's so many things to talk to you about. It's incredible. I want to talk about Aunt Margaret. What's it like being a? Do you mind being called a sex kitten or a sexy kind of an entertainer? And how does that affect Roger?
Yeah, I just always found that very flattering. I always have. I've never taken offense to that.
Well, you pull it off very well. And if people do call you sexy, it's certainly not meant in any kind of a derogatory fashion. It's a real compliment, I think.
Well, I take it as a compliment. I mean, wouldn't you feel good if a woman said to you that she thinks you're sensual?
Oh, say that again, will you?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Do you work? Just before I start breathing heavily on the phone here, do you have to work at that, or as a little girl growing up? When did you find out that you were like you are? Or, I guess I'm asking you to give away some secrets here. Maybe you don't want to do that, but did you always picture yourself as being that kind of a person, the kind that would make men's hearts sort of flutter?
Oh goodness, no, I don't know how people perceive me.
What was it like for Ann Margaret in New Trier High School, for instance?
New Trier High School? Let's see.
Were you a class clown?
No, I was always very shy. But I always was in show business. I mean, I had my first professional engagement as a band singer when I was 16.
So it started out in the singing, huh?
And I was a cheerleader, and let's see what else. I studied very, very hard. I always did my homework like a good little girl.
But you figure you'd be in show business at some point.
Oh, yes, I was always taking lessons, singing lessons, and dance lessons and piano lessons, and ever since I can remember.
Yeah, I find it interesting because we talked about firstborn. You're not a firstborn by any chance, are you?
I am the only child.
Okay. There again, we just talked with a psychologist out in Arizona yesterday who said that firstborns are the ones that do the kind of things that Aunt Margaret would. Frank Sinatra, I think, was an only kid. It's incredible.
How about that?
Yeah. And also this business of being shy. I've heard that brought up about show business people before. You figure anybody that would get out and entertain in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people or more wouldn't be shy.
No, but see, you're a different character. The only time I'm myself is when I sit down and say, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our show." That's me. But when I come out and do all these different kinds of numbers, those are all different characters I'm playing. Just like in movies, I'm playing a different character. I'm not playing me.
Okay, so the real Ann Margaret is the shy sort, the one who wouldn't be all that outgoing probably in public. But once you're on stage...
With my friends.
Okay. All right. You like to have a good time as well as anybody else, then?
I sure do.
Yeah.
And my guys have been with me a long, long time. We're like a big family. My dancers. See, one of them has been with me 17 years, and it goes on like that, 16, 15, 14, 13, like that. And we've just gone all over the world having a great time and just getting into all sorts of mischief all over the place. And it's a family. Roger and I really want to have it that way.
Yeah, that's great. I'm just curious about the dancing aspect. A lot of girls, I think, would like to be dancers if they had their choice. You know, that would be one of the things they'd like to try to do. It's hard work, isn't it?
I love what I do. I just love my work. It's not work to me, and I really don't. I move. I'm not a technical dancer. Just like I'm not a technical person, I'm not a technical actress. I'm an emotional person, extremely emotional. It's gotten me into a lot of trouble all my life.
So when you're on the stage, you're actually maybe working out the kinks. Is that what you're doing?
I'm working what?
You're working out the kinks emotionally. You're really letting it all.
Well, no one's ever asked me that, but I certainly feel much better afterwards.
So it's a sort of a therapy, like a lot of other people's jobs, I suppose, are.
Oh, sure. I think if you're nervous about something, if something's going on in your life, and you go out and do an hour and 20-minute show where you kick up your heels and sing and dance and laugh and do comedy and everything, you feel a heck of a lot better when you get off the stage, because that adrenaline, those endorphins come out, that adrenaline is going.
Does that happen every night, or do you ever have a night where it's just sort of routine and it's really kind of...
No. God forbid if that would ever happen to me, I would quit.
Okay.
In a second.
Do you get nervous before a show, Ann?
I get excited.
Not nervous?
I get real excited, like a racehorse.
Okay. And even, is there a point in the middle of the show maybe where you feel like we've got this audience licked, they're great, or we still have to win them over? Do you ever have those kind of nights?
I never think of those things. I just think of...
now you will after I mention it.
Next, and I really concentrate on my lyrics. I'm very into the show.
Yeah.
Very into the show. As a matter of fact, sometimes somebody will bump into me in one of our very arduous numbers, and at the end of the show, they'll come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry I bumped into it." And later on, I'll see this huge, huge black and blue mark, but I did not feel it. I don't have any recollection of being hit.
You're making it sound like a football game.
Yes.
It's true. You don't feel the pain until all the excitement has died down, I
Oh,
suppose.
because there's so much adrenaline.
Yeah. That's terrific. Is there any... I was trying to think, how long can you dance? And I guess, Fred Astaire danced up until his upper ages, and Gene Kelly, and Miller, of course, it was still dancing, and maybe still is, I'm not sure. Do you ever see a day when you say, that's it, I just don't want to dance anymore?
When the love isn't there. I have to love what I do, and I do love it.
Okay. Well, it's obvious to me when you watch Ann Margret dance. And why do I think of you as a dancer? I mean, we've talked about your singing and your acting. You kind of do it all, Ann. When you watch your work, you can tell that you are in love with what you do. You're fun to watch.
I love, getting into characters and everything. I'm going to be doing a new film in January with John Erman, the gentleman that I did Who Will Love My Children, Streetcar, and The Two Mrs. Grenvilles. It's another dramatic film, and it's with Julie Andrews.
Oh, that sounds great. She was in town a few years ago. She was trying out much the same kind of thing maybe you're doing, taking a show on the road just for the first few times to see how it would work.
Uh-huh.
And as far as I know, it did pretty well for her.
Oh, great. Well, I'm enjoying it, and Roger's enjoying it, so we're having a great time here.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Well, we're going to look forward to you. It'll be Sunday night at 7:30 at Braden Auditorium. Still some good seats available. Sometimes people think, gee, Ann Margret's going to sell out in a night, and I don't know if there's going to be good seats. But, hey, that hasn't been the case for a number of shows at ISU. People have been delighted with the series so far this year. And, of course, it's not going to be anything different but great on Sunday night with Ann Margret.
Thank you so very, very much.
Pleasure to talk to you, Ann.
Same here. Bye-bye.